Hello, welcome to WGSN-DB Going Solo Network. We're the #1 internet singles talk network, and we're very proud of that. And we want to thank you for allowing that to happen to us because we do these shows each and every week just for you. And so let's do our homework and get it out of the way. I am Cece Schatz. I'm the doyenne of relationship building. I am a divorce, dating, and a life coach. And we have here the Going Solo Media.com, which is where all of our media is housed. And then also we have the Going Solo Network.com, which is where all the singles connect. We have a numerous amount of websites that you can have a look at that and join whatever it is that you feel like joining that meets for you. But I want to reach out and thank our sponsors today because our sponsors are Going Solo Community.com and meettherightone.com. And if you don't know what they are, I am affiliated with both of those. Going Solo Community is really a singles community taking you through to relationship loss, through to the transition of dating, and really connecting with singles and having a great time, right? Really kind of building your life as you want it to be built. And then Meet the Right One is a brand new dating site, totally unique, totally different, something out of the norm. And I hope you look at it and check it out and you join us there. But let's get on with our show because we've got a lot going on here tonight. We have a wonderful elite guest, and an elite guest, if you don't know, it is one that actually helps us and supports us as we help and support them. And so we have Anthony J. Diaz with us. He's an attorney, and he's an amazing gentleman because he is what they call the peacemaker, right? And we're going to talk a little bit more about that. We're going to find out why they call him the peacemaker. But he's a collaborative family law attorney, a certified mediator. He's a coach. He's an author, an international speaker. And I tell you what an absolute joy to have him with us tonight. Welcome, Anthony.
Thank you, Cece. It's great to be here with you.
Oh, it's my pleasure to have you with us. And I know we're going to talk about limited scope representation. We've got a lot on our plate here tonight. So we're going to talk about the different options and things like that people can, think about doing if they're thinking about separating, they're thinking about divorcing, there are different options that they have. But before we get started, let's find out a little bit about you. Now, why did you decide to go into this type of law, family law? And why are you now called the peacemaker?
Great. Well, um, it's been an interesting journey, and looking to do family law was not something I've always wanted to do. I was a CPA my first career, and then I decided to go to law school. When I came out of law school, I wanted to practice criminal law because I thought that was cool, and that's all on TV and Law and Order. And then when it was time for me to look at another area of law, I was looking at family law. And what really led me to that was my own divorce. And I went through a divorce a number of years ago, and I was an attorney, not a family law attorney. And I thought, oh, well, this is going to be easy. I'm an attorney. Why don't I just hire another attorney and they'll take care of it for me and all that stuff. And it wind up being like the worst experience I've ever had. I mean, it was um, highly conflictual. Just as an example, we were in mediation, and the mediator wanted to keep us in separate rooms because of the high conflict, and it was just really a very not a great time for me. And afterwards, I realized, okay, what happened here, and doing some introspection, I thought, wow, that was supposed to be an easy experience. It was horrific. Imagine what it must be for folks who have no legal background and are going into this place called divorce. So it wound up being a passion of mine to help people understand the different types of divorce, how to move through it. It doesn't have to be um, a negative experience, and what can I do to make that process easier and more peaceful?
Yeah. I noticed on your website you have divorce with dignity. and there's a lot of verbiage that really talks about getting through the process kind of with a little bit more of your peace of mind intact, a little bit more, because it just seems like it destroys individuals as they move through divorce. And if you've decided that this is what you want, moving forward, for your family or for yourself individually, then why should we have the process be so difficult and so strenuous? You know what I mean? And so I like the idea that you really take that into consideration. You try to make the journey of divorce a little bit easier on the individuals and the families that are participating in it. So I want to thank you for that, because not all attorneys do that. And we do have some really great attorneys out there that do. And so you're one of them. So thank you for that.
Yeah, it's interesting. When I was looking at the type of family law attorney I wanted to be, what came to mind is, divorce is never easy.
Hmm.
There's a lot of emotions. It's like a death. It's a death of a dream that um, spouses have when they decided to get married, and that dream is not going to happen. So it's very painful, um, but it doesn't have to be hard. And there are ways that we can do to make that not as hard. Uh, Divorce has a lot of emotion. That just goes with, when you're with someone, it's a very intimate time of your life. And now to have that done, even if you're the one who wanted the divorce, there's a lot of emotion involved. So what can we do as attorneys to make that process not so hard, and being able to make it more dignified? So that's what I try to do. I wrote an ebook, Divorce with Dignity, and it goes through how to have a more dignified divorce. And it's uh, tips and tools for people to help them through this painful journey. Because at the end of the day, the divorce is going to be final. It's just a matter of time. But where do you want to be when that process is over? You can still be very angry and hurt, and that's fine. But wouldn't you like to be um, in a place of, it was hard, but now I'm ready for the next step in my life, or ready for that next journey. And how you go through the divorce process will have an effect on how you are at the end of the process.
Yeah, you're so right with that. Well, let's talk a little bit about, and we talk about tools, right? So we talk about tools in the fact that there's different ways in which to conquer divorce, so to speak, right? And so, like you said, it's a journey. We know we're going to go on it. We know we're going down that path. We know we're going to be breaking up. And so there are various different types of and different ways in which we can tackle that. So let's talk briefly about some of those, because I know we're going to talk about the limited scope, but let's also talk a little bit about collaborative and, about mediation and some of those other things. So can you walk us through briefly some of those facets?
Sure. Well, what's exciting about um, going through the divorce process is you don't have to go to court. There's a lot of out of court solutions that are fabulous, and it accomplishes everything that you were looking to have at the end of the divorce and more. So, a couple of the popular out of court solutions are mediation and collaborative divorce. So, mediation, most states require every divorce to go to mediation. Mediation settle about 98% of all cases. So the courts love that, because they really want to just work on cases that can't be settled in mediation, which is very few. So it's a great option. You have a neutral facilitator who's trained, sometimes as an attorney, and can work with the spouses, with or without attorneys, and can help them to come up with a solution that works for both of them. So I'm a certified mediator, and I love doing the mediations and be able to brainstorm and to help folks focus on their goals and not so much on what happened during the marriage, but let's focus on where do you want to go from the marriage and what has to be resolved, property or child support, parenting plan. Collaborative divorce is kind of a expanded mediation. Um, you have neutral folks on board, and it's a facilitator and a financial neutral, but each spouse has their own collaboratively trained attorney. And the focus for everyone on the team is to guide this couple through the divorce process, help them identify goals, come up with co-parenting options where at the end of the case, again, they don't have to go to court. Everything is filed, it's confidential, but it's a great option for those that need a little bit more support than mediation would provide. And it addresses some special issues where there might be some different co-parenting things going on, or there's some different financial assets that have to be dealt with, that maybe court's not the best place to deal with it, and mediation, you don't really have the financial background. So a collaborative divorce really helps to resolve a number of cases that need a little bit more support, and it's becoming a widely used option in divorce without court.
Yeah, I love love the mediation, but sometimes, like you said, there's times that you do need to have attorneys involved a little bit, maybe with this more structure of the settlement. You might have a business, something like that that you need to talk about, those kind of things. So it's a little bit of a stronger, I don't know if you want to say stronger, but a little bit more detailed, that you have to work on. Mediation is I think the way to go. The not arguing, not the litigation part of divorce if we can help it. So I think that's truly the way it is today. We're talking a lot, Anthony, about like building a team, right? And sometimes people get overwhelmed a little bit with that. They're thinking, oh gosh, I'm going to go through a divorce. I got to have a team now. I got to have a whole team to be able to get through divorce. This is really going to be expensive for me. And so let's talk a little bit about that, because we've talked on many times during the show about building your team. And so let's talk about some of the different avenues in which you might need a team, because maybe you don't need a team, a big team, you're just a small team. So,
Right. Well, what's evolved over the collaborative divorce history
mhm,
is creating a container, a safe container for the spouses to go through a divorce, and every divorce is different. So now you can have a collaborative divorce, which means that the couple agrees not to go to court, that they're going to use this process, and there are many different pieces. You can have a mental health counselor involved if there's a parenting plan issues that a little bit more involved. If you have a high net worth case, you're going to want to have a financial neutral that all they focus on is how to slice the pie in terms of it being fair. So it sounds overwhelming, but what's more overwhelming is having to go to court to be in front of a judge, and you have your experts, the other spouse has their experts, and you want to talk about your head exploding. There's a lot of moving pieces there. So what's neat about having a team, these are a group of people that their main focus is you.
mhm.
All they want is to make this process easier for you, and they want you to know that this is your decision and you're self-empowered in this process. So I try to look at it as, you know, not this big, like a baseball team where you've got like all these players and whatnot. It's almost like going to a restaurant, and you can choose things a la carte. Well,
Mhm.
you're in the mood for, for steak. Well, what goes well with steak? Well, I like spinach. Well, do you like, a smashed potato, or do you like rice? So it's being able to look at what outcome are you trying to accomplish, and what ingredients do you need to have the perfect recipe, and that's what collaborative divorce can offer you.
Yeah, I think it's really great. Yeah, because again, it's really about moving through the process the best you can, and understanding it along the way, and it being what you want. Because again, in litigation, at the end of the day, it can't. It sometimes is not. It doesn't end up what you truly wanted for your family. And so a lot of people have regrets after litigation. And so this is a way of forming and developing a plan that's going to work for you and your family. And so it's something for people to look at very, very closely if they're looking at divorcing. So mediation and collaborative divorce is definitely the way to maybe start looking at those areas. And then you need individuals that are specialized in these types of situations, right? With the mediation and with the collaborative, they have to be specialized within this. So you can't just like go and get your neighborhood, you know, uh, they might have the shingle of being an attorney, but you want to make sure that they know what they're talking about when it comes to these kind of things.
Exactly. So, like, for example, in mediation, you can choose anyone to be your mediator. Okay,
Mhm.
they're really, and I'm going to speak for Florida because that's where I practice out of. But most states, while they have a certification program, you can be a certified mediator, which I've done. You go through training and experience and advanced training, so you hold yourself out as an expert, and that's what I would encourage people to look when they're researching a mediator. But there are people that have done mediations and do a great job without having all the training. So it really depends on what type of case you have, what you're looking for. But with mediation and collaborative divorce, there's trainings and there's advanced trainings. So you can't go wrong with selecting people that are highly trained and are certified, and it says a lot about their commitment. It's a lot of work and time to go and get trained, but I'm passionate about mediation, I'm passionate about collaborative divorce, and I'm going to go and get whatever training I need so I can stay on top of things and make sure that I can handle whatever case comes my way. And I would encourage people that are looking for those professionals to really look at their background and look at their training, because that says a lot about their commitment to those processes.
Yeah, absolutely. You're so right. Well, we're going to have to take a quick break. The time goes by so fast here on the Going Solo Network. But when we come back, Anthony, let's talk a little bit about the limited scope representation, because this is something that's a little bit new. It's coming out more and more, and we need to know more about this. So we want to cover that. So I want to thank you so much for being on the show here today. Everyone, this is how you get a hold of Anthony. You can go to anthonydiazlaw.com, and that's his website. And he also has another website, which is anthonyjdiaz.com. So he's got the law, the anthonydiazlaw.com, and then the anthonyjdiaz.com. And to make it very simple, you can give him a call. It's 407-212-7807. Again, that number is 407-212-7807. You find all that stuff right on our website on Going Solo Media. He's one of our elites. He's got his own page. You can just click and it'll go right into his information. So it's right there for you, easy as pie, right?
Perfect.
So when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more with Anthony J. Diaz. We're going to talk about the limited scope representation, and I'm so glad to have you here on the Going Solo with Cece show. We'll be right back. Hello, welcome back to WGSN-DB Going Solo Network. We are so pleased to have you back here with us. You are listening to the Going Solo with Cece show. I am Cece Schatz, a doyen of relationship building. I'm a divorce, dating, and a life coach, and we connect singles through our Going Solo Network. So you can find us on goingsolonetwork.com. But before we start back here with our wonderful guest here tonight, I want to make sure that you guys know we're on Roku now and also Amazon TV. So you want to make sure that you catch us there. We're really excited about being on that platform. We want to thank our sponsors tonight, goingsolocommunity.com and meettheright1.com. I am affiliated with both of those, so check them out. I just am so excited to be able to bring those forward to you. So let's get back to our topic. We have elite guest Anthony J. Diaz with us. He is a peacemaker, and we are so pleased to have him with us here tonight. He's a collaborative family law attorney, certified mediator, coach. He's an author and an international speaker. We talked at the beginning of the show about collaborative divorce. We talked about mediation. We talked about the importance of it and how the journey of going through a divorce with some dignity. And that really is truly what we want for everyone. And again, let's mention how you can reach him. So we want to make sure we do that as much as possible. It's Anthony. It's Anthony Diaz, Diaz, law.law.com, or his personal site, which is anthonyjdiaz.com. That's ANTHONYJDiaz.com. His phone number is 407 212 7807. So again, 407 212 7807. So let's get on back because we're going to talk. Welcome. Thank you so much for waiting for us. But we're going to talk about limited scope representation. So let's talk about that, Anthony. What is that?
Sure. Well, it's another option that folks have. They're going through a divorce. Another way of saying that is unbundled legal services. So I'm going to use an example of when you get cable. They want you to buy other things. So they said, well, if you want cable, you can also get internet and you can get a phone service. And if you get them all together, we can package them and give you a cost of whatever that is. But let's say you only want cable. You don't really want all the other things. So what you ask the company to do is to unbundle those services. So it's the same thing when you're going through a divorce. You can hire an attorney for the entire case from the beginning until the end, until there's a final outcome. But you can also hire an attorney for any part of the case. And that has some advantages. Let's say you're getting started and you don't know if you want to do the entire case by yourself, and you might just need some help to get started. So you can hire an attorney to take care of the initial filing, and that's all they do, and that's all you pay them to do. Maybe after that's done, you're looking at, well, I don't know if I want to do the next part, and you work with that attorney to do the next part of the case. So you can take a case and break it out into its individual parts and just pay for those parts. It's also helpful for people that may not have the initial retainer to start a case. And, doing divorces is not cheap. It's not inexpensive. So it's a way for folks to be able to pay as they go and just pay for that service. It's also an opportunity for folks to see if this is an attorney that they want to work with before forking over $5,000 or $10,000. Let's see how that relationship works for the beginning of the case. So it's an opportunity for the person going through the divorce and the attorney to see if this is a good fit. But it's really a great option to look at, what do I need going through a divorce? Maybe I just need a consultation. Maybe I need to be prepared for a mediation, and I can hire an attorney to just prepare me for the mediation, and I can go and represent myself. So it's a way of breaking the case down to its different parts, and hiring the attorney for just that part. So it's an up and coming option that a lot of people aren't aware of. I do this all the time with clients, and they wind up hiring me for the beginning of the case, and then they wind up hiring me for the rest of the case after that. Or it's just, hey, I just need you to file the documents, and I'll take it from there. But it gives options for those who may not have all of the finances, or may not know how much involvement they want with an attorney.
Yeah, that's wonderful. I mean, years ago we didn't have that. It seemed like everything was kind of lumped in together, and it was kind of expensive. And I know that in my divorce support group, a lot of them would ask me, "Is there a way I can just get, we've agreed on this and this, and I just need someone to file the documentation and make sure that I've got everything, all the paperwork in order, can have it looked at, those kind of things." So it's really great to be able to do that. And so if you're doing, so let's say you are going down this road, and you're doing some limited scope paperwork, but then you find later on that you need more entail. How does it work as far as in just like financially? Is this like a flat fee per se, or is this still an hourly based? How
Sure.
does
No,
it work?
it's a great question.
Mhm.
So the way limited scope is, it's a very well defined part of the case. And what I'm able to do, and a number of attorneys are able to do, is to offer that as a flat fee, because you know the beginning, you know the end, and you've done it time and time again. So you've taken the unknown out of that equation, because you know this is all is needed to prepare documents. You know what the documents are, you know how to file them, and you know how much time it's going to take you. So being able to offer a flat fee is perfect, because a lot of times with divorces, you start with a retainer, and that's why it's called a retainer, because you don't know if that's all it's going to be, or if you're going to need more. But when you do the limited scope, for every part of that scope, there's a fixed fee to it, and you know what it is, you can budget for it, and it really helps to navigate through the financial part of divorce, because you're already looking at splitting up assets and what am I going to be left with. But if you have a budget for each part of the divorce, it makes at least that part certain, and it takes the uncertainty out of that part of the divorce process.
Right, that's very helpful. And then, of course, if it something goes crazy, you can always go back, to the hourly, to the figuring out what you need to do, or whatever. But
Yeah, because you can
yeah.
because if you're able to do a certain parts in the beginning,
Mhm.
limited scope and flat fee, and then you get to a certain point, and then you're not able to do that anymore. Well, now you have less of the case
Mhm.
left to do, and there's a little bit more certainty with that part of the case going forward. So even if you have to revert back to an hourly, you'll probably still have saved some money by starting off doing the limited scope.
Yeah, that's so great. Because like here in Florida, as an example, they fight over child support all the time, and it's such a statute. It's not there's really nothing to fight about unless there's like some sort of circumstances that are different, for the children. But it's pretty much written already, and there's a guide,
Mhm.
and you go by it, and there's no reason to sit and spend hours and money fighting over something that they're going to just go with statute. So,
Exactly.
yeah. So those are the kind of things, if you can get them sorted out, the paperwork done on them, and then just focus on where you need to put your energy. And yeah, this is
Yeah, because there's a certain, there's certain parts of the case that are going to need a little bit more
mhm.
more work on. There's certain things that aren't as clear cut, like maybe alimony. There's no
Right.
statute for
Mhm.
that. You may
Mhm.
have some interesting situations with assets and pensions and benefits.
Mhm.
Well, that's not straightforward, but there are things like filing of the petition, preparing the child support guidelines. I mean, those are easy. Even if you don't want to do it, you can hire an attorney at a fixed rate to go and do those things, and it really now if narrows the focus on things that you can't do by yourself and that you may need an attorney for.
Right. Well, what this does is it really alleviates a lot of stress, because when we're going through this type of situation, a family breaking up, trying to, get through the journey of that, it's so stressful, both emotionally and, economically for the families. This is definitely, I think, something that it's turning. I mean, I've often said I think we need to change, the divorce as it is, and look at different ways of doing things. And so I think this is definitely, a positive effect. So most certainly. So I can see why they call you the peacemaker.
Yeah, well, that's, it's something that I've always been looked upon, even when I was growing up. I guess it was a personality, but I always wanted people to get along.
Mhm.
So I would do whatever I could. I don't know if it was to be liked or whatever, but started to be really good at resolving disputes and wanting to have peace. And I want to have it in my own life. So it's exciting and rewarding to be able to help people to find it on their own and to be able to find it after divorce. If you can have a more peaceful divorce, the chances of your life going forward having more peace and less uh, baggage or things or issues that you've taken along with you. If you can have a good divorce experience, if you can divorce with dignity and have a peaceful process, and I'm sure you see this with the solos and the singles, the ones that have had a better divorce process are better equipped to go out in the world and have a more healthy relationship.
Absolutely. I tell you what, the ones that are and I can say even myself, difficult, just a horrible divorce. And it really, it sets you up for, a difficult transition. And
Yeah.
so I think definitely if you can look back, and if you can look back on your attorneys that helped you with, respect, and knowing that they did the right thing, that they always did the right thing, and they've always tried to do the right thing to get you through it. And it wasn't just all about how much money can we bill, what's our billable hours,
Mhm.
let's draw this out, that kind of thing. Because I mean, I tell you, people, they know that, when you're
Mhm.
going through these couples know, when they've got a hold of an attorney that's like that. And it certainly is very difficult for their family as they make that transition. So I think you're onto something about it being, a smooth and a peaceful journey as you're moving through.
And I also want to bring something else up for the
Mhm,
children.
mhm.
If the parents can model good conflict resolution skills for the children, one, the children would feel safe. They don't feel like they're being drug into the divorce. But when they grow up, they have a good model of their parents working through a very difficult time. And when they have their own relationships, they're going to be better suited to resolve conflicts, because conflicts come up in relationships. That's just part of relationships. But if you can raise your children to know that divorce doesn't have to be with enemies, it doesn't have to be a war of the roses, then your children now will be able to have healthy relationships. So it really starts, even when the children are young, and being able to raise them in a environment, even if it's co-parenting with parents that love their children and their marriage just didn't work out for whatever reason.
Yeah, you're so right. Because, at the end of the day, you're still a family, And so you have your bickering and fighting, during the divorce. And then when that's all over, it's like, okay, now we got to actually get along, don't we? Because we got to move forward and keep raising these children, So
Good
it's
luck with that.
yeah, so yeah. So I think that if we can do it in a way where we can get through it all. I mean, it's still going to be bumps. I know there's still going to be bumps along the way. We're still going to have some bruised feelings and things like that. But if we can get through it, then we can start on the path of transition and developing a life that we truly choose and one of being peaceful. And so, yeah, I
Exactly.
totally agree with you. So we're going to have to close here because it's gone by very quickly.
Mhm.
But are there any last words you'd like to leave our audience here tonight?
Sure. So it's my passion is to make sure that legal services are accessible to everybody. So when you're going through a divorce, look at all the options. There are so many different ways to be able to go through a divorce, and a lot of them aren't going to break the bank. I would also encourage you to look at other options and go into court. Um, Nobody wins going to court except the attorneys, and there are great ways to resolve your divorce without going to court. So I would urge you to consider that, and you'll have a better chance of having a great outcome.
Yeah, absolutely. Well said. I tell you, you want control of your life, right? And so you want to be able to take control of your divorce. And so having attorneys that will work with you and try guide you through the process, help you along the way, and really try to make it a little bit easier on the transition is certainly the way to go. To fight and argue and go into court and go through litigation and have the judge decide what's going to happen with your life is not what anyone
Mhm.
wants. So let's really think about this as we move forward. And if you have any questions, I want you to call Anthony. Anthony's number is 407-212-7807. Again, that number is 407-212-7807. So if you want to check out his website, it's anthonydiazlaw.com. That's AnthonyDiazlaw.com. And then he's got a personal site, AnthonyJDiaz.com. That's AnthonyJDiaz.com. Check him out. And you'll see that he definitely means what he says about being the peacemaker, going through divorce with dignity, trying to get to the other side in a peaceful way so that you can, build a life that's really what we all want, absolutely. So it is a joy having you. I hope we can get you back here again.
Anytime you want, just let me know.
Oh, it's great having you. I loved it so much. You guys are listening to Going Solo with Cece. I am Cece Schatz, the doyen of relationship building. It is a joy to have you here each and every week. We are so honored to be able to be here with you on the WGSN-DB Going Solo Network. We want to thank our sponsors, GoingSoloCommunity.com and MeetTheRightOne.com. I'm affiliated with both of those, so check them out. We would love to have you do that. All of our information that you see tonight will be on our GoingSoloMedia.com. That's where we house all of our videos, everything that we have. We're live here on Facebook, YouTube. We're going to be up on Roku and Amazon TV. Join us there, like us, subscribe, make a comment, really participate, because if you want to change your life, if you really truly want something more for yourself, you have to participate, right? You have to interact. You have to do something. So we hope that you will do that with us and join us each and every week. We appreciate it. All right, everyone, we're going to hit the road and we'll see you next time. Bye for now.